Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member. Thank you for holding this very important hearing, and thank you for your attendance and testimony. I want to make a comment. Senator Gardner and I just got back from a trip to the Middle East, and we saw 5 ambassadors over there and many staff. I want to tell you how impressed we are with State Department personnel who devote their careers to foreign service, and I just want to thank you for your career of contributions. You know, we all seek perfection, and there is no such entity, but I admire what you guys are doing. I want to change the topic a little bit to Haiti briefly. I was very blessed to go on a mission trip after my first election last November to Haiti, to a small town called Grand Guave. It's about 45 miles southwest of Port-au-Prince, to a project, an orphanage basically. Well, it was an orphanage sponsored by the Good Samaritan Project. I was really troubled. We had about 275 kids there. A significant number of those kids had parents in the location, in the area, in environs there, southwest of Port-au-Prince. But they had given their kids up to the orphanages because they couldn't feed them. Now, this is 5 years after the catastrophe there, the earthquake. Their church, their school, their dormitory had all been destroyed. Total, no injuries, a miracle. They were out playing soccer, but a miracle, nobody injured. But here we are 5 years later, and even with all the money, $3.5 billion we've poured into that. And by the way, you know, I was so proud at the time that happened with U.S. support there. The Navy, all the NGOs, all the private religious, all the other foundations that were pouring time, money, and people in there. And yet, here we are 5 years later. I'm not criticizing. I just want to know, Madam Ambassador, you know, what's your take on what's going on there, particularly as it affects young mothers who are having to give their kids up to these orphanages because they can't feed them?
Well, Senator, thank you. Thank you for taking that trip. I traveled there shortly after the earthquake with the First Lady and Dr. Biden, and was truly shocked at the devastation, and I saw the people living on the streets. And I know that throughout this time, and I'm sure Assistant Secretary Feely can discuss this more, but we have made an investment and have had some success moving forward, but the challenges remain. And what we're very concerned about in my office are the issues that you raise of the violence that these children are facing, the fact that they're not really being well taken care of, and the violence that their mothers are facing even in their communities and in their homes. And I think, you know, USAID is doing a fair bit of work there, working hard on it, but I do recognize that it's a continuing challenge.
Secretary Feely, I'd like your comment, but also, how do you evaluate, you know, the money, not just the money, it's the time, the heartbreak, everything else that we have put in to countries like that after the fact to evaluate the effectiveness of what we do in catastrophes like that?
Absolutely, sir. I would just echo what Ambassador Russell said and what you said. Haiti is perhaps the most difficult case that we have of persistent underdevelopment in the Western Hemisphere. And it is a testament to the very good people of the United States that every time I travel through the Miami airport, I see the brigades of kids in T-shirts from churches and communities. That's all absolutely necessary, but it's not sufficient. One of the things I think that we have to look at is the manner in which our policy, in addition to our programming assistance to work on the development issues, the education, the child maternal health, the basic delivery of services, how our policy towards Haiti is absolutely essential. Supporting elections coming up this year, providing in Haiti what they frankly have not had for a very, very long time, which is a regular, predictable, strong democracy where you have multiple voices from civil society that are included. That's got to be one of the metrics. It is not, nobody in my building and no Secretary of State is going to say that we are there yet. All democracy strengthening is never an end zone. It's a constant process. But I do think that we have, with the elections coming up this fall, we have an opportunity to continue to help that, frankly, blighted country. I would also say that our assistance has made inroads in making sure that we are addressing the emergency aspects. And you're right, it's 5 years after, but there is still food insecurity in Haiti. There are still, you've flown over it.
I'm sorry, food insecurity?
Food insecurity, meaning that they are unable to feed all their people.
I have another word for that. But,
and we call it, that's the technical term, the term hunger.
I know, in your heart, it's a terrible situation.
It's horrible. And if you've flown over the Dominican Republic in Hispaniola, you can see where the deforestation line is right there. So our assistance goes to trying to reforest, trying to provide money to small communities and provide technical assistance so that they can grow sustainable crops, so that they can feed themselves. There's a program that's been very successful, the Global Cook Stove Initiative, whereby in Haiti, as you know, they've got to burn trees to get the carbon to heat their water so they can avoid cholera. Cook stoves, solar cook stoves, the use of technology, all of those things go into it. We absolutely agree with you that we have to keep Haiti as a priority. We do keep Haiti as a priority in our 2016 request, and we will continue to work with this committee and with, frankly, the very good people of the American religious and civil society communities.
Secretary Bennett, would you follow up on the elections? You brought it up, Secretary Finley. I would love to hear what the State Department is doing to influence an open and honest, forthright election process there, because I agree with the Secretary. I think if you're ever going to solve the problems there, we've got to get a participatory representative government there.
Thank you, Senator. We engage very assiduously on this point, both somewhat less publicly, but privately in our dialogue with the government and with civil society organizations in Haiti. From the DRL perspective, we don't have a foreign assistance sort of niche in Haiti. They're much more basic needs, as my colleagues have identified, that are right at the top of the urgent list. But having a reasonable elections process is absolutely critical to, the prospect of future success. And so our encouragement in that regard, I think, is well.
Are you optimistic with this next round?
I think that I will defer to my colleague here.
I'll jump on that grenade, sir. Sir, the legislative, local, and presidential elections are going to be held in 3 rounds, we hope. This is one of those places where diplomacy and the strength of an American diplomatic presence, quite frankly, is worth more than money and funding. The political will to be able to make the hard decisions within Haiti. They have got a terribly, terribly fractious situation with vying and competing parties, and within their own legislature. They've got significant logistical. Just simply, how do you get Haitians in from places to vote? How do you count those votes? So I am not going, and the reason I won't do this is because, as you are aware, sir, we have a special Haiti coordinator, and so it doesn't always fall directly to the Western Hemisphere. But one thing we do in my purview is we support election monitoring. It's one of the strongest and best exercises that we undertake in the Western Hemisphere to ensure that elections are as transparent and as well run as possible, and we will certainly be doing that. And I believe that with MINUSTA providing the security presence, and although there is going to be a drawdown at the end of the year, and they're proceeding towards that, we will look to international solidarity and to our hemispheric partners. That, again, is a function of our diplomacy, getting those governments who support free, fair, transparent elections and want to support the Haitian people on board in this effort.
Well, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.